quiet of the morning calm, where the sun rises at the dawn, and the birds sing their waking song. There's a story to be told. So if you hear a teller telling you a tangled tale, or maybe two, rest assured, every word is true, especially the bits they make up.
At Canadian Tire, we're here for all-day summer play. From the yard to the park, find all the games you need for non-stop family fun.
Everything has brought her to this moment. She inches closer to the edge and summons the courage to leap. Because she knows the only way out is across when the floor is lava. Every big moment starts small.
It starts with a spark and becomes a beacon, lighting the way. When the games are gone, the games go on. Turn up. Take part. Orange Store. Fuel the spirit.
Recycling sounds good on its own, but when it's done right, it's even more rewarding. And with Green Depot's express service, there's no waiting. Just drop and go. Who wouldn't love the sound of that? Visit greendepotnl.ca to learn more.
A strong performer uses power wisely. The Toyota BZ4X is the official electric vehicle of the 2025 Canada Games. See our full electrified lineup at shoptoyota.ca.
From Team Alberta, fifth overall Canada with 2,538 points, Jackson Turner. In lane 5, from Team Saskatchewan, seventh overall with 2,459 points, Josh Clem. And in lane 6, from Team Alberta, eighth overall with a score of 2,090 at this point, Winston Clark.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage here at the Canada Summer Games in beautiful St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Robbie Doherty, once again alongside Adam Dunphy to bring his expert analysis on this Day 2 coverage. And we are on the track. We're going to start things off with 110 meters men's decathlon. This time it's hurdles. Adam, take us through this event and what we can expect.
Well, this is the beginning of Day 2 for these athletes. They will start off with the 110-meter hurdles. Later in the day, they will have the discus, the pole vault, the javelin, and then they will cap their competition with the 1,500 meters.
You saw these competitors yesterday, and it was certainly competitive. Oliver Arnfast from New Brunswick in lane 3. Jackson Turner, Alberta lane 4. Josh Tam, Saskatchewan lane 5. Winston Clark in Alberta lane 6. Here they go. A good start early on as Jackson Turner out to the front, feeling pressure from Josh Tam, trying to catch him. It's a fight for the lead right now. Alberta trying to pull out in front. Will he hold on? It's going to be a sprint to the finish. Could have been all Alberta with Winston Clark with a late break right at the end. Not sure if he was able to catch Josh Tam for second or not, but it was Jackson Turner in the end crossing first for Alberta.
Nice start to Day 2 for Jackson Turner. He comes through at 15:85. It's going to score him 750 points. He entered Day 2 in 6th place overall. Winston Clark does get in there for second in this section. He clocks 16 seconds flat, and that is going to score him 733 points. Josh Tam not far behind at 16:02. That's good for 730 points. And it was a very good run from gun to tape for Jackson Turner. And some late charge from the outside of the track from Tam and Clark, but Turner able to hold them off and post the best score of this opening section.
Adam, this is the first time we've seen hurdles on the broadcast. Talk about this event in general. What do athletes do to prepare? Obviously there's the big difference between that and the straight sprinting, but what's the difference perhaps mentally in how they adjust their training?
Well, it's all timing when it comes to the hurdles. You have to be on your right leg. You got your X amount of steps between the hurdles, so it is a very technical event. And not only do you need that technicality, but of course you also have to have that explosive speed that you see in the straight sprints.
Certainly a lot of endurance involved and strength here in this hurdles event. This decathlon, certainly not for the weak.
You'll see one of the greatest traditions in track and field at the end of this decathlon competition. It's when all the competitors are finished the 1,500 meters, and of course it's been 2 days of grueling competition, and they're all just spent, but they're all out on the track, they're giving each other hugs, and then they all pose for the photo. Usually it's singlets off for that, but it's just one of these great traditions that you love to see in this sport.
Certainly, and we saw a great display of that yesterday as well in various events. A lot of times at the finish line, the athletes waiting around for a minute or so, just talking to each other, high-fiving, and that's what these Canada Games are all about. Creating memories for these young athletes and the start of their long high-performance career for many of them. Little weather report, no rain as of the past few hours here in St. John, so track looking pretty dry, but a very, very strong wind. As you can see the trees in the background. Certainly windier than yesterday, so we'll see if that's a factor.
That opening section saw a tailwind of 2.2 meters per second. So just outside the legal limit. It is 2 meters per second tailwind, which is legally allowed. And what that means is if you were to set a record and the tailwind was over that 2 meters per second, it would not count. So you've got to keep those wind readings in mind.
So heat number 2 coming up. The men's 110-meter hurdles, part of this decathlon. 5 competitors this time. Lane 2, we saw these athletes once again yesterday, starting in lane 2, Saskatchewan and Logan Koch. In lane 3 from Ontario, Sam Uding. In lane 4 from Quebec, Emmanuel Desilly. In lane 5 from New Brunswick, Max Mazerol. And in lane 6 from Quebec, Edward Lavoie-Beaulieu. There you see them lining up. Great crowd on hand once again, here to take in this full day of track action. We're going to have the coverage for you, so a reminder, bit of a break in the afternoon, but we will be back at 5 o'clock Newfoundland and Labrador time to bring you over 4 hours of coverage. So certainly going to be a big day if you're a track fan in Canada. There you see them lining up. Mazerol trying to stay warm. We talked about that big wind, Adam, and it is a chilly wind at that. I think it might even be a little colder yesterday, perhaps not feeling as such as no rain falling, but that rain could come at any time.
At least today these athletes should stay dry, and look at there in lane 6 at the day 1 leader, Lavoie-Beaulieu. Scored 3,377 points on day 1. He's also the defending champion at these Canada Games and the Games record holder.
So we'll keep an eye on him. On the outside in lane 6. Getting into the blocks. Here we go. Heat number 2. The men's 110-meter hurdles, part of the decathlon. And we are underway, and a good start from Mazerol of New Brunswick. Trying to clear the hurdles, and there you see on the far right, Logan Koch of Saskatchewan trying to pull ahead, but feeling pressure from Mazerol, and a big surge from Lavoie-Beaulieu. You mentioned him early on. It's going to be a dash for the finish. Mazerol from New Brunswick with a big finish, crossing the line first. It was a race for second. It looked like Koch from Saskatchewan, and Lavoie-Beaulieu crossing third. So an excellent race from these 5 competitors.
And those were some quick times. Mazerol coming through in 15:31. That's to score him 812 points. The wind died down on that section. It was just 0.3 meters per second for a tailwind. Then Lavoie-Beaulieu, 15:58. That's going to get him 781 points. Then Koch, 15:61. That's good for 777. So great starts for these athletes on day 2 of this decathlon.
Here's another look. A clean run from Mazerol as well. Great burst of speed at the end.
So that is going to bump Lavoie-Beaulieu up to 4,158 points. He increases his lead to 63 points. Logan Koch moves himself into 2nd place. And this is setting up to be a really good day for Lavoie-Beaulieu. Among the events on day 2 are the pole vault and javelin. Well, Lavoie-Beaulieu is the 2025 Canadian pole vault champion. He also finished 7th in the javelin at the Canadian Track and Field Championships. So he will certainly be in a good spot to defend his Canada Games title.
You talk about a well-rounded athlete. You just mentioned, certainly impressive. This 2 days of competition, certainly grueling. The week of competition, we should say, for many of these athletes. And that's where the training comes into play. Certainly a tremendous amount of athleticism. And coming right up, we have the women's 200-meter 3 heats, the open prelims. Adam, can you take us through what to expect in these 3 heats?
Well, we'll see quite a few athletes that we saw in action yesterday, the 100-meter prelims coming back for these 200-meter prelims. And again, we talk about the alumni that the Canada Games can boast about, and one of them is Andre Leduc, who won the 200 meters at these games back in 2022 and then went on to set the Canadian record in both the 200 and 100 meters.
Impressive alumni list. If you look through the names from throughout the years, so many recognizable athletes now getting their start here at the Canada Summer Games. This should be no different. We saw the 100-meter dash sprints yesterday. Adam, this one going to 200 meters. What's the difference between the two in terms of strategy, and is there anything we should look for as they run this short distance but still longer?
Well, it's just how you manage the bend. Of course, these athletes are going to start at the 200-meter start line, so that will have them running the bend first. And a little bit of different strategy goes into that, but it is still a speed event, and you will see, as mentioned, a lot of these sprinters doubling up in the 1s and 2s.
You see a great job by the volunteers here in St. John's. Every venue we've been to, certainly a lot of orange jackets everywhere you look, and they're putting a lot of hard time, or a lot of long days in, and putting some hard work into making sure these games are second to none in a world-class event. So a great job and a hats off to all those involved. Those hurdles being cleared off the track now. There's another look at the track and everything going on. Looking at the list of competitors, Adam, is there anybody perhaps within the 3 heats we should be able to watch for?
Well, let's start at Heat 1, and in that opening heat, we're going to see Haley Woodhouse from Team Saskatchewan. She is coming off a silver medal at the Canadian Track and Field Championships in the U20 race. So she will look to put herself in the mix here. Also in the opening heat, Gabrielle Cole from Team Ontario. She was 7th at the Canadian Track and Field Championships in the senior race with a clocking of 23:39. And I have mentioned that a lot of times you will see athletes double up in the 1s and 2s, but sometimes you will also see athletes double up in the 4 and the 2. And in that opening heat, we will see one of those athletes in Hannah Sobkowicz, who was the 3rd fastest of the 400-meter prelims yesterday. She's a member of Team BC, so she will also be in the mix. And in these women's 200 meters, we will have an A and a B final, so the top 2 finishers in each heat will move on through to the A final. There will be 3 heats, and then the next best 2 times will join them in the A final. The next best 8 times will move on to that B final.
So here's a look at the names in lane assignments. In number 1, in the inside, Sylvie Sandiford. Hannah Sobkowicz. In lane 4, Amira Lawrence. In lane 5, Gabrielle Cole. In lane 6, Addison McAdam. Lane 7, Haley Woodhouse. In lane 8, Zoe Landry. So a big event coming up for these young athletes. Just 4 minutes away from the start time. Big job once again to get these hurdles cleared off. Adam, we've gone back to it a few times. We've talked about the weather yesterday quite a bit. It was certainly challenging conditions. And looking at a day like today, no rain, but certainly stronger winds. How can that affect these athletes? You talked about the effect in rules with the tailwind and such. Take us through that and what we could expect from that weather happening outside on the track.
One thing we'll likely see today, and we've already seen it in those opening sections in the deck 110-meter hurdles, is just the difference in wind. In the opening section, it was an illegal wind. In the second section, it was a legal wind. So if you're in a section or coming up in a heat that has an illegal wind, it really gives you an advantage if you don't finish in the top 2, because obviously an illegal wind is going to give you a bit of a boost, and that would really help you as a time qualifier in getting into that A final.
In the first heat, we have in lane 2 from
There you see in the background those trees certainly blowing.
In lane 3 from
Yesterday the wind also changing directions quite a bit, so we'll keep an eye on that as the day goes on.
In lane 4 from Team Manitoba, Amira Lawrence.
Certainly a busy one
In lane 5,
here at the beautiful Fortis Canada Games Complex in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. A reminder, we also have multi-sport coverage all day throughout the week. Now in week 2 as we take a look at the athletes on the line getting ready to run. Saw Hannah yesterday in action, certainly a great performance. Looking to repeat that today. I believe Haley Woodhouse yesterday with a big sprint at the end of the relay was last night in this first heat as well. Talked about her yesterday, Adam. She showed great speed.
Yeah, Woodhouse running one of the legs for Saskatchewan's 4x1 team, and they grabbed themselves a spot in the A final with a 46:38 clocking. Again, Woodhouse was also the fastest in the individual 400-meter prelims with a 55:92 run.
So here we go. Yukon, BC, Manitoba, Ontario, PEI, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia. Heat number 1, the women's 200 meters open prelims. On the blocks. Tense moments. And a great start once again from Sobkowicz of British Columbia, picking up speed, trying to get out front on the outside. In lane 7 is Haley Woodhouse. Taking that turn, you talked about that turn early on as Amira Lawrence tries to stay ahead. She looks like she could be passed. Now as that finish line gets closer, Sobkowicz trying to hold on. Great speed from Cole. Who's it going to be? Oh no, and it's going to be Woodhouse. What an excellent dash at the end, picking up speed at the end to take that. That was certainly close, Adam.
Well, that is a pretty exciting heat. Again, just 2 moving on automatically out of these 3 heats, and well, none of these competitors could really relax there. It was 4 battling for those 2 spots. In the end, the nod goes to Woodhouse at 23:72 and Gabrielle Cole at 23:95. The wind just legal at 2 meters per second. Sobkowicz 24:07. And then Lawrence 24:23. So they will wait to see if their times will survive the next 2 heats.
Another look at the times once again. Great job by our crew to bring you a comprehensive coverage. What a finish by Haley Woodhouse. See just how close it was between her and Gabrielle Cole of Ontario. 200 meters, certainly an exciting part of these track events. Lots of speed and strategy going into that turn. Still 2 more heats to go for the women's division.
It's tough lane draw there for Woodhouse as well. She was outside in lane 7, so really didn't have a good grasp of what was going on as she has to look to her inside to get a lay of the land, but it didn't have any negative effect on her as she comes through for the victory in that opening heat.
Number 2 athletes getting warmed up. You see the list of the lanes. So in lane 2, Georgia Olin from Alberta. Lane 3, Maya Chadori from Prince Edward Island. 4, Kyla Finley, Manitoba. 5, Stephanie Pelly of Newfoundland and Labrador. Maria Teresa Ulysse from Quebec. In 6, lane 7, Alexia Latorre of British Columbia. And outside in lane 8, Riley Beck of Northwest Territories. You see the names right now, Adam. Is there anyone who pops out at you who looks like they could be an early favorite?
Well, the fastest seed time in this heat belongs to Ulysse from Team Quebec, 23:62. She was also the fastest yesterday in the 100-meter prelims with a clocking of 11:61. Also have a couple of finalists at the U20 race of the Canadian Track and Field Championships in this heat. Kyla Findlay from Team Manitoba. She'll be in lane 4. She was 5th in that race with a 24:01 at those nationals. And then Alexia Latour from Team BC. She's going to be in lane 7. She was 7th in that race.
Just looking at those seating times as well. You mentioned Ulysse from Quebec with the 23.62, and looking up at the top, Georgia Oland 23.63. So certainly close. Those could be 2 lanes to really watch head to head. There you see Ulysse, a good shot by our crew. Getting prepared. This 200 meter.
And it looks now, Robbie, we're going to have a couple of scratches in this heat, so we will not see Georgia Oland in lane 2, nor will we see Riley Beck at lane 8. So this is going to be a 5-athlete heat.
Okay. We won't see the head-to-head from Ulysse and Oland. Nonetheless, still should be a great race. There's a great look at it. So Chaderi from PEI, Findlay from Manitoba, Pelly from Newfoundland and Labrador, Ulysse from Quebec, Latour from British Columbia, getting set.
Alors nous aurons 5 athlètes qui compétitionneront dans ce 200 mètres. Elles sont prêtes, elles s'installent
Heat number 2, the women's 200 meter open prelims. And we are underway, and a fast start once again from Ulysse, not taking any time to go right to the front, feeling pressure from Latour, but passes her into the turn, and great speed from Ulysse as she makes that turn. Kyla Findlay from Manitoba trying to catch up, doesn't have the speed right now on the outside. Here's Latour trying to catch. Can Ulysse hang on? What a pass from Findlay, trying to reach that finish line. It's going to be close, my goodness. As Latour, a great effort on the outside. Not sure if she was able to catch, but what a dash at the end. Certainly a close call.
Well, that was a great close by Kyla Findlay. She comes through in 24:09. And the other auto qualifier spot is going to go to Latour, 24:11. Ulysse through in 24:27. So she's going to have to wait and see if that time is going to get her through. And it's going to be too slow as it stands right now, so she will not advance to the A final. Time qualifiers still Sobkowicz and Lawrence there. But the winds died down again for that heat, just 0.8 meters per second tailwind.
Certainly a close finish there. Look at those times between Findlay and Latour. And Ulysse just behind. Talked about strategy in this 200 meter, Adam, and Mary Teresa Ulysse looked like she was, pardon the pun, but off to the races around that turn with about 50 meters left. A great effort from Latour and Findlay.
Well, Ulysse had the best start of the 5 competitors and looked like she was in a really good position. The race looked like it was going to come down to her and Latour just to determine who was going to get that top spot and who was going to get second. But then Kyla Findlay over the final 50 meters really turned things on, and she grabs a big Q for her efforts.
Certainly a lot of excitement in the first 2 heats. And stay tuned, because we've got another one coming up. Heat number 3, just around the corner. See the athletes warming up on the blocks. Full track this time as well. Saw some late scratches in the last heat. Looks like these athletes getting ready to go as we're only moments away from the 3rd and final heat here in this 200 meter women's. Look Open prelims. So we'll meet the competitors in lane 2 from Yukon, Amélie Guibault. Lane 3 from Saskatchewan, Grace Igbiki. In lane 4 from Quebec, Frédéric Chesson. In lane 5 from Northwest Territories, Desiree Breitbach. In lane 6 from Nova Scotia, Lynn Shepard. In lane 7 from Newfoundland and Labrador, Molly Pomeroy. And in lane 8 from Ontario, Gloria Eden. Any names popping out at you, Adam, who might be an early favorite?
Have to look to lane 4 and Chesson from Team Quebec. She finished just off the podium at the Canadian Track and Field Championship. She was 4th with a time of 23:19. So she has the quickest seed time in this field, and she's got a great lane draw as she's got the middle of the track, lane 4.
There we go, Frédéric Chesson from Quebec in lane 4. She looks to get prepared on the line, very focused. And there's Morrison from Alberta. On the inside in lane 1. Look at the focus on their faces. They know it's go time. You think of all the hours of training, sacrifices that were made to prepare for these games. It all comes down to these heats. Truly impressive athleticism on display. So here we go. Heat number 3. First 2 are outstanding. Women's 200-meter open prelims. Moments. They're set. And we are underway, and a great start on the outside from Gloria Edom of Ontario, being chased by Pomeroy of Newfoundland and Labrador, and great speed by Chesson of Quebec. You talked about her early on. Can she hold on? Feeling pressure from Igbiki of Saskatchewan. But Chesson picking up speed. Looks like she's increasing her lead as the finish line approaches. It's going to be Ontario, Saskatchewan fighting it out for the 2-3. But once again, a great performance by Chesson of Quebec and a big finish at the end. Saskatchewan and Ontario going back and forth. And have to wait to see what the official results were.
So for Chesson, she comes through in 23:24 into a headwind. It doesn't matter for her. That is a new Canada Games record, taking down the record of 23:33 set back in 1997 by Team Ontario's Latoya Austin. And this is just a heat. So Frédéric Chesson certainly going to be the one to beat come the finals.
Outstanding, and you see the look of celebration at the finish line. Chesson in the right side of your screen, getting some hugs and support from fans and teammates all around the track. You'll love to see it. Big congratulations to Frédéric Chesson of Quebec. Well, certainly an exciting event is that 200 meters. And we're just waiting for final times and results to come in. And the men's are just around the corner as well. We're going to have the coverage.
So Gloria Edom is going to pick up the other big cue from that third and final heat. And the time qualifiers for the A final will be Grace Igbiki with that 23:81 in Heat 3. And Hannah Sobkowicz is 24:07 from Heat 1. That's going to hang on for the final time qualifier spot for that A final. And the winds all over the place. Heat 1 had a 2 meters per second tailwind. They're adjusting Heat 2s right now, not seeing any wind measurement there right now. But then in Heat 3, they ran into a headwind, but it mattered not for Frédéric Chesson as she clocks 23:24 to set a new Canada Games record.
So a classic moment already in the history books here from St. John's. Here's another look at that historic run. Take us through it, Adam.
Nothing too exceptional on the start for Chason, but she gets up to speed in a hurry and starts making her way through the crowd on the turn. And then in the straightaway, firmly in control. Igbicki challenged for a bit there, but in the final 50 meters, it was all Chason. And didn't really see her let up towards the line. She could have. She had a big enough lead, but she doesn't, and she gets herself a Canada Games record for her efforts.
And as you mentioned, still just a heat. Finals coming up later on this week. Gotta wonder if we'll see her own record broken.
Second at U20 this year from Team Ontario, William Batley. In lane 2.
There you see the men's coming up. 3 more heats of the 200 meters.
Northwest Territories, Carter Carson. In lane 4 from Team Saskatchewan,
Number 1.
Williams Ogunubi. In lane 5 from Team Alberta, Caden Schultz.
Moments away, and there you see
In
they're
lane
getting
6,
warmed up.
From Team New Brunswick, qualified
Bit of
for
their warm
100
gear.
Finals in this competition. From Team New Brunswick, Jackson Banks.
We'll full track once again.
From Team Manitoba,
Lane assignments.
Augustine
Lane 1,
Nundi
William
Mana.
Batley of Ontario.
And later from Team
In lane 2,
Newfoundland,
Liam O'Donnell of British Columbia. Lane 3, Carter Carson of Northwest Territories. Lane 4, Williams Ogunubi of Saskatchewan. Lane 5, Caden Schultz of Alberta. Lane 6, Tristan Jackson Banks of New Brunswick. Lane 7, Augustine Nkundi Mana of Manitoba. And lane 8, Crispin Hetendi of Newfoundland and Labrador. It's our first heat of 3 coming up for the men's 200-meter open prelims. Here we go. So we are underway at a good start on the outside from Hetendi of Newfoundland and Labrador. And there you see Ogunubi trying to catch up from Saskatchewan in the middle. But right now, Alberta and Caden Schultz trying to hold on to the lead. Tristan Banks trying to chase, but on the inside. And Ontario's William Batley, a big burst of speed. Finish line approaching Ontario. New Brunswick in second. And it looked like Schultz from Alberta taking up that 3rd spot to cross the line. And what a run that was.
So Batley takes it in 20.84. The wind's gusting again, 2.8 meters per second tailwind. And then Banks comes through for the second big Q with a clocking of 21.15, just like the women's prelims. It'll be the top 2 finishers in the 3 heats, and then the next best 2 times going through to the A final. Batley, the silver medalist at Nationals in the U20 race, gets the nod here over Banks, who was 6th in the open race of those Canadian Track and Field Championships.
Here's another look at the race.
It was a great start by Banks, out in 6. Also in the mix there was O'Donnell from BC, but then on the inside it was William Batley going to work. And Batley, the only sub 21-second clocking in this opening heat.
Certainly looked like he sort of flew out of the nowhere, flew under the radar early on. A great burst of speed and an excellent performance. Big congratulations to William Batley of Ontario. There's a look at all the times from that race. Some good numbers. Tristan Banks was impressive yesterday. We saw him in action. Another great start to the day here on this Wednesday. And there you see the hoods are up, the jackets are on. We talked about that wind, very brisk here in St. John's at the beautiful Fortis Canada Games Complex. beautiful venue to host this track and field action all week. Excellent job by the city of St. John's and the community to provide these athletes with excellent playing conditions. Every venue certainly top-notch thus far. A great job. So heat number 2, busy once again. Looking at the lane assignments. On the inside in lane 1, Colin Blanchard from Prince Edward Island. In lane 2, Horeb Kouassi from Newfoundland and Labrador. Lane 3, Jared Hebert from Manitoba. In lane 4, Tega Berman from Yukon. In lane 5, Giovanni Powell from Saskatchewan. From Quebec in lane 6, Michael Allaire. Lane 7, Jacob White. And in lane 8, from New Brunswick, Nathan Ryu. Is there any names jumping out at you that could be the early favorite, Adam?
Look to lane 3, Team Manitoba's Jared Hebert. He was 5th at the Canadian Track and Field Championships earlier this summer. Clocked 21:02 in that final, and that is the quickest seed time in this second heat.
So Hebert in lane 3. Certainly a lot of familiar names from yesterday. Saw a great run from Nathan Ryu yesterday as well. So here we go. Getting set. The men's 200-meter open prelims heat number 2. Tense moments. And we are underway, and a good start by Ryu on the outside as Hebert looks to gain some distance from Manitoba, and he looks to be putting on speed into the turn. Trying to take the lead is Hebert, but Michael Allaire trying to fight him out for it, and in the middle of them, Powell from Saskatchewan, but right now it's Hebert gaining speed, finish line approaching, he'll hold on, and a good finish from Allaire, and Powell in third to cross the line for Saskatchewan. But another great heat, Adam. Anything jump out at you during that run?
Well, Hebert comes through for top spot in this heat, and he knew he was going to grab that. He was able to relax a little bit coming in to the finish line. He comes through in 21:24. Allaire, good battle. It was a very tight battle to the last 20 meters or so for that second auto qualifier spot. But in the end, Allaire pulls through and grabs it with a clocking of 21:40. Giovanni Powell and Nathan Ryu, 21:57 and 21:61 respectively. And now they get to play the waiting game to see if those times are going to survive the final heat to move them through to the A final on time. And let's just take a quick look right now. So it's not going to be quick enough for Ryu, but Giovanni Powell's 21:57 does have him as the bubble time right now for that A final.
Certainly close in the 200 meters. Across the board, trying to break through those A and B finals. Another look at this race, Adam.
Great start by Allaire. He was in lane 6. But then just out of the corner, you can see that it is Jared Hebert's race to lose. And it was a good final push by Powell, trying to make Allaire, well, he had to make Allaire work for it, and Allaire's able to hold him off. So Allaire, another impressive run for that young man. We saw him in the 400-meter prelims a day ago. He ended up posting the top time in those prelims, 47:83. So he is now off to another A final as we get set for heat number 3.
Well, certainly excitement to say the least. In the first two heats. Men's 200 meters, open prelims. There you see them getting warmed up. Warm jackets still on. Brisk day here in St. John's, provincial capital. Wonderful hosts of these 2025 Canada Summer Games. Everywhere we've been, certainly been world class. So a big thank you to all those involved. So here we go, heat number 3 coming up. We'll read the competitors and their lane assignments. In lane number 1, Gabrielle Mompoint of Quebec. In lane 2, Dominic Barassi of Ontario. In lane 3, Jean-Paul Lefebvre from Yukon. In lane 4, Malachi Muir of Alberta. In lane 5, Hudson Shinko of Northwest Territories. In lane 6, Siddiqui Diakite of PEI. In lane 7, Praise Babalola of Nova Scotia. And in lane 8, Ryan Lofstrom of British Columbia. So here we go. Adam, any expectations as we go through the names or any pre-race thoughts?
Well, this heat features a couple of finalists from the Canadian Track and Field Championships. Dominic Barassi at lane 2, he was 7th in that race. And Malachi Muir, lane 4, he was 8th in that race. But Muir was the Canadian Indoor 200-meter champion earlier this year at the Canadian Indoor Championships in Toronto.
So this should be close. Some great runs thus far. I'm sure we'll see it again. Heat number 3 is underway in the men's 200 meters. And a great start by Lofstrom. Outside in lane 8 and moving forward is Mompoint of Quebec. Trying to gain distance on the turn. Ontario's Barassi trying to pick up speed and he takes the lead. Look at this dash, but a big effort from Muir of Alberta. Trying to hold on is Barassi. Muir trying to catch him. It's close at the end. It looked like Mompoint on the inside for 3rd, but it's once again, we're going to have to wait for official results, and he is fired up as he should be, is Dominic Barassi with a great run.
That looked a bit like a final the way Barassi and Muir were battling it out through the final 15 meters of that race. Again, the top 2 finishers are moving on. And Barassi comes through in 20:93, Muir in 20:96. As you said, Robbie, it was a good start on the outside by Ryan Lofstrom. He ends up finishing 3rd. Also thought Babalola looked very strong coming around the corner, but the real battle was towards the middle at the inside of the track, and it was Barassi with the lead out of the corner, and he was able to maintain that lead through the line despite the best efforts of Malachi Muir. And those two are moving on to the final, the A final, I should say, with the big Qs. And the time qualifiers will be Ryan Lofstrom, so that 21:24 gets him through. And then Caden Schultz's 21:51 from Heat 1 will also get him through to the A final.
Here's a look at the times, and look how close it was between Barassi and Muir. Great finish, as you mentioned. It looked like a final. Certainly entertaining. Was that 200 meters? So coming up next, we have more 200-meter action. This time it's the women's 200 meters. Special Olympics prelims. Getting warmed up on the track. Coming up momentarily. As you can hear the crowd getting excited. It's certainly a full day on the track and many of them on hand to take this in. So let's read the lane assignments. Lane 2, Joy McLaughlin of Nova Scotia. Lane 3, Ashley Hughes of Ontario. Lane 4, Lena Kanchin of Ontario. Lane 5, Samantha Walsh of Newfoundland and Labrador. Lane 6, Bella McKenzie of Nova Scotia. Lane 7, Olivia Osmond of Newfoundland and Labrador. And on the outside, in lane 8, Riley Bell of Ontario. Adam, our first of 2 women's Special Olympics 200-meter heats. Any thoughts as these are scheduled to begin momentarily?
Well, many of these athletes doubling up at these Canada Games. Saw many of them in the 100-meter prelims yesterday. Joy McLaughlin from Team Nova Scotia in lane 2. She comes in with a seat time of 31:32. So she will be in the mix. The best seat time belongs to Riley Bell, who's got that tough lane draw of lane 8. So she's going to be on the outside. Her seat time 28 flat. And Bell was the second fastest in the 100-meter prelims yesterday with a clocking of 14:47. Top 3 finishers in these 2 heats are moving on to the A final, and they will be joined by the athletes with the next 2 fastest times.
Riley Bell, we saw it yesterday. I think she was the only one in her 100-meter heat to start from the standing position. It worked out great for her. You mentioned that outside lane, lane 8 being a tough start. Talk us through that a little bit, Adam, and how that can make a difference.
Well, you're running blind out in lane 8 because you're starting with the most extreme stagger. So you have to really look inside to get a perspective of just where your competitors are. And for someone with Bell's speed, if she gets off to a good start here, she might have to look quite far back just to see where everyone else is in comparison to her. Because again, she is by far, on paper, the quickest in this heat.
She was impressive yesterday, so there we go. Heat number 1, the Women's Special Olympics 200 meters prelims. Heat number 1 of 2. And we are underway, and we see Bell on the outside. Certainly off to a great start, and there's a look at her lead. But towards the left side on the inside, Hughes and Kanchin of Ontario trying to play catch up as well. But right now it's Bell holding on to the lead. A great run from McLaughlin of Nova Scotia as well. And in back, Walsh and Osmond of Newfoundland and Labrador. But here comes Bell, looking to go coast to coast. Started with the lead. She'll hold on to it. A great run by Bell. And in second, Ashley Hughes. And at the end, it looked like Kanchin and McLaughlin trying to race for third. So a great run by all these competitors in great speeds.
And in the end, it's going to be the 3 Ontario athletes grabbing those auto qualifier spots. Riley Bell threw it a blazing 29:55. He's more than 2.5 seconds ahead of second place Ashley Hughes, and Lena Kanchin's going to pick up that 3rd auto qualifier spot thanks to her 32:66.
So great times, impressive athleticism and speed by all the competitors here in that first heat. And we have another one to go coming up momentarily. Another full track coming up. As you see the congratulations at the finish line. A great job by all these athletes. Fair play. Such a big part in sportsmanship. Love to see it. Congratulating and certainly enjoying the moment from all these athletes here at the Canada Summer Games. So a great heat to start things off here in this women's 200 meter Special Olympics prelims. Another great heat coming up. Finishing up their warm-ups. Taking off their warm gear. Mentioned it now numerous times. Certainly brisk today in St. John's. What a moment for all these athletes being able to compete at the Canada Summer Games. I always admire just on the starting line the amount of focus we see in every event throughout the day. Just a look of focus, knowing, thinking about all that went into preparing for this. The moment is here. These opening heats, trying to find their way into the finals later on. Let's meet the athletes in the lane assignments here in heat number 2. In lane 1, from Manitoba, Georgie Mathieson. In lane number 2, from Quebec, Miriam Vesna. Lane number 3, from Manitoba, Regan Hoffley. In lane 4, from New Brunswick, Janie McGraw. In lane 5, from British Columbia, Olivia Newman. In lane 6, from British Columbia, Katarina Mader. In lane 7, from Quebec, Rachel Perron. And in lane number 8, Sabrina Yumi Perron. So the competitors getting ready to take their spots on the starting line. There you see the athletes getting introduced by the PA announcer. A big crowd on hand showing their support for track here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. Full slate of events all day today. Reminder, we're going to have coverage throughout the day. So here we go. Getting lined up, ready to kick things off. And we are underway, and a good start in lane 6 by Mader. Just behind her, Newman picking up some distance, and here comes Manitoba and Regan Hoffley into the turn, gaining speed, trying to go for that lead. Looks like she will get it. Olivia Newman not backing down from BC, and out in lane 7, Rachel Perron trying to catch up, but then you look on the inside, Georgie Mathieson trying to catch, but right now it's Hoffley from Manitoba. She'll take the top spot. Olivia Newman from BC second, and Rachel Perron takes the third spot. And what a great run by these athletes here in the women's 200-meter Special Olympics prelim.
The defending champion Hoffley looking good in that second heat. And Katarina Mader had a hard fall as she came across the line. Good to see she's up. And the fall happened at the line, so she finishes the race, but she did go down hard. But again, she's up, looks to be okay. Hoffley comes through in 29.91, Newman 31.02, and then Rachel Perron grabs that third big Q for the A final with a clocking of 31.58. And Georgie Mathieson, 32.28 for her to finish fourth in that heat. And that's going to be quick enough to get her through to the A final on time. Joy McLaughlin will be the other time qualifier for that A final.
Great effort indeed by all these athletes. So competitive back and forth. Really close. There you see the sportsmanship, and going back is walking each other off. Let's take another look at this race, Adam. Anything that pops out at you?
Thought we might see a call back. There was a little bit of a stumble there in lane 6 by Mader, but she was able to steady herself, and the race did get underway. Good effort by Newman in 5. She was hanging with Hoffley coming out of the turn, but Hoffley just has that great closing speed. Gets the arms going, and she gets the top time in this final heat. And here was just Mater coming through there, just lost her balance, or rather sort of looked like she maybe had jammed her foot on the track there, and unfortunately she ended up going down pretty hard. But again, she got up, then she got some help from Janie McGraw. Nice show of sportsmanship there, and just hope everything is okay for Team BC's Katarina Mater.
There you see the event warm-ups going on as we're going to have two more heats coming up. This time it's the men's Special Olympics 200-meter prelims. Should be exciting once again. These athletes getting ready to go. We'll take a look at the athletes and the lane assignments in this first heat. In lane number 1, Denzel Camden of Quebec. In lane 2, Jacob Potts of Ontario. In lane 3, Cameron Albert of New Brunswick. In lane 4, Nathan Vian of Manitoba. In lane 5, Jacob Rafuse of Nova Scotia. In lane 6, Jesse Renouf of Newfoundland and Labrador. In lane 7, Jalen Jones of British Columbia. And in lane 8, Braden Giraudier of Saskatchewan rounding out the field. So a good look at the starting line. Certainly moments of anticipation getting ready for this first of two heats. Any names jumping out at you who could be a potential favorite early on, Adam?
The fastest seed time belongs to Giraudier out in lane 8 from Team Saskatchewan. He comes in with a 24:09, but right behind him is Jacob Rafuse from Team Nova Scotia in lane 5. His seat time is 24:10. So should see a good matchup between those two.
Certainly will be. It's always fun to see the difference in the pre-race routines and all the athletes. Some moving around, some just staying still and focusing in. Certainly takes a lot of mental toughness to take part in this sport. So it looks like we're just about to begin. A reminder, this is heat number 1 of 2. Quebec, Ontario, New Brunswick, Manitoba, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador, British Columbia, and Saskatchewan. All on the track for this first heat.
Dans le 7, Jalen Jones de la Colombie-Britannique. Et dans le 8, Braden Giraudier de la Saskatchewan. Son père s'est lancé sur une piste qui les a accompagnés avec un vent dans le dos tout au long de la journée. Malheureusement, le
So here we go. Getting set on the line.
s'est caché derrière les nuages. Alors on ne pourra pas bénéficier des rayons du soleil lors de cette course. Le thermomètre qui est présentement aux environs de 12 degrés ici du côté de cette corde.
Athletes being introduced to this capacity crowd by the PA announcer. Adding that level of excitement.
In lane 6 from Team Newfoundland Labrador, Jesse Renouf. In lane 7 from Team British Columbia, Jalen Jones. And in lane 8 from Team Saskatchewan, qualified for 100 finals, Braden Giraudier.
Se sont entraînés longtemps et très fort.
So here we go. Heat number 1, 200 meters, men's Special Olympics prelims, about to get underway. And here we go, a great start by Giraudier of Saskatchewan. Trying to head out front in great speed in lane 1 from Camden, trying to chase as well. And a great effort from Ray Fuse of Nova Scotia, trying to battle for the lead. Manitoba's Vienne staying close, but right now it's Camden gaining speed, but feeling pressure from Ray Fuse. It's gonna be close at the finish. Ray Fuse trying to pull ahead Saskatchewan at the last minute. What a close race as Giraudier tried to come out of nowhere at the very end to pass first. I think he was able to. The official result's going to be close on this, Adam.
So the nod goes to Giraudier, 23:67 for him. Rayfuse comes through in 23:70, and Camden through in 23:86. So that trio off to the A final.
And another look at it. Take us through what you saw.
Well, excellent starts by Giraudier in lane 8 and Rayfuse in 5. But it was out of the corner. You could see that Camden, he was either first or second, and he kept himself in the hunt, but he did himself enough as he finishes third and grabs one of those big cues.
So an exciting first heat here in the men's 200-meter Special Olympics prelims. More action coming up.
En troisième, suivi de Jacob Potts et Nathan Veen de l'Ontario du Manitoba respectivement. Cameron Albert du Nouveau-Brunswick, Jalen Jones de la Colombie-Britannique et Jesse Renouf de Terre-Neuve et Labrador qui a terminé au 8e rang.
You see on the starting gate, excuse me, starting line. Kyle Giraudier also ready to go. Every athlete doing their own pre-race routine, trying to get themselves as ready to go as possible. So on the starting line, the athletes getting ready for heat number 2. Here are the men's 200 meters. Special Olympics prelims. Lane assignments are as followed. In lane number 1 from Saskatchewan, Kyle Giraudier. In lane 2 from Nova Scotia, Logan Barnes. In lane 3 from Manitoba, Matthew Jolicoeur. In lane 4 from British Columbia, Thomas Rack. Lane 5 from Ontario, Rourke Martin. In lane 6 from Newfoundland and Labrador, Michael Buden. Lane 7 from Prince Edward Island, Keegan Waite. And in lane 8 from Quebec, Gabriel Dupuis. Saw many of these athletes in action yesterday, Adam. Anything stand out to you when you hear those names? Here's Shali Carr from Manitoba. Getting focused. So heat number 2 coming up. Here are the men's 200 meters Special Olympics preliminaries. Feeling excited as they are announced to the capacity crowd here at the beautiful Fortis Canada Games Complex, the beautiful host venue of these athletics events. And here we go. Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, Manitoba, BC, Ontario, Newfoundland and Labrador, PEI, and Quebec. Well, it looks like we're going to have a reset. Great job by our officials. Green card is up. So here we go. Try this again. Heat number 2. A men's 200 meters Special Olympics. So here we go. We are underway, and a great start from Quebec, and Gabriel Dupuis on the inside lane and trying to catch his Rourke Martin of Ontario. Good job on the inside by Logan Barnes as well. Kyle Girardier trying to chase, but right now Rourke Martin, big speed as that finish line approaches. Dupuis trying to catch up from Quebec. It looks like it's going to be Rourke Martin first across. Second will be Quebec and Dupuis. But a great run by all these athletes. Take us through it, Adam.
Lots of personal bests here, and no wind assistance, negative 0.2 meters per second, so that should make me very pleased with their performance. Rourke Martin, 23.93, and he came in at 24.17, so.
Well, great start by Martin in lane 5. Dupuis got away good as well in lane 8. Martin just continuing to have a couple of good days here at these Canada Games. He was the fastest of the 100-meter prelims yesterday. He clocks 23.93 here in the 200s to move himself out of the A final.
Standing effort. Big speed by Rourke Martin at the end, coming out of the turn.
It's going to be an exciting final with Martin and Dupuis matching up against each other again. And it was Dupuis who took the crown back in 2022. But here in the prelims, it is Martin getting the better of him, 23.93, Dupuis 24.35. Barnes moving on to the A final as well with that 24.99. Kyle Girardier clocks 25.92. That will not be quick enough to get him onto the A final, but he will contest the B final.
2 more events coming up. Before we take a quick break, the women's 800-meter open prelims, followed by the men's 800-meter open prelims. 800-meter, we haven't seen that distance yet, Adam. Anything that fans can expect before these heats begin?
I talked yesterday about the 400 meters just being a pure pursuit of pain. Well, the 800 meters follows in that similar vein. It is the shortest of the distance races, but a lot of times it does run like a sprint. And Canada has a pretty good legacy at the 800-meter distance among the women. Melissa Bishop-Naragu, she's now retired, but was a very accomplished athlete for Canada on the world stage in that event. She still holds the Canadian record with a clocking of 1:57 flat. She ran that back in 2017.
800 meters. Impressive times on the start lists thus far. On paper, it looks like it could be a pretty competitive opening heat.
Yeah, there is a lot of talent in Heat 1, and it's headlined by Jenica Swartz from Team Alberta. She's going to be in lane 2. She comes in with a seed time of 2:02.46. That has her the 5th ranked Canadian in 2025. She was a finalist at the Canadian Track and Field Championships earlier in the summer, where she finished 3rd.
Talked about it yesterday, but what a great opportunity for all these athletes competing here this week. You talk about so many times we hear a name and you'll mention a time they had just within the last month or 2 months, 3 months, about them participating in international championships or an international competition. This feels like there's so many great opportunities for these young athletes to compete, especially against the country's best or even the world's best. But also just such an advantage coming into an event like this, the Canada Summer Games, where the lights are just a little bit brighter, the stage is big, perhaps a little bit added extra pressure. That's got to be a big item to add to your resume in terms of confidence coming to an event like this.
Well, for a lot of these athletes, they're just trying to continue riding that wave of momentum, and Jenica Swartz is a perfect example of that. Saw her yesterday in the 800 meter, or excuse me, in the 1500 meter prelims as well. She had the top time in those prelims, and again, just coming in with momentum. She was the 5th or 6th place finisher at the Canadian Track and Field Championships in that event. So moving forward at these Canada Games, she is certainly going to be in the hunt for the golds here in the 8 and the 15.
We get our first look at the athletes taking the track. Number 1 coming up. 3 heats coming our way. This women's 800 meters open prelim. Big crowd on hand, showing their support, their excitement for these athletes.
There will be 3 heats in both the women's and men's 800 meter prelims. The top 2 finishers in each heat will move on to the A final, and then the next best 2 times will also move on to the A final, and then the next best 8 times will advance to the B final.
Lots on the line here in these heats.
It's nice to see a lot of B finals being run as well at these Canada Games. It just gives the athletes more opportunities to practice their meet preparations and how they execute at these meets. So it's also a very valuable learning experience. Even if you don't make that A final, you still have something to work towards and look to finish off your competition on a high.
Great. Anytime you can add experience, is valuable as you continue your journey. A high-performance athlete. There you see the competitors making their way to the track. Set their starting position. It's worked by the crew on the track. Set. Those orange jackets, mentioned it a few times, but an outstanding job by the host committee and all the volunteers all across these games and preparing. Get these games ready everywhere we've been. Hospitality's just second to none here in St. John's. So a big thank you and congratulations to all those involved here in putting this wonderful event together this summer. Anna Carruthers, a good look at her. She prepares this first heat, the 800 meters. Ilya Baisley, Newfoundland and Labrador. Get some great support on hand. It's the home province athlete wearing those Newfoundland and Labrador colors. It'll be a special feeling to compete in these games at home.
There's the Canadian U20 champion, Maya Markowska. Won that title in Ottawa earlier this summer with a clocking of 2:07.34. She's going to start in lane 5.
Allison Wasson in lane 6. We saw her in action yesterday. She had a great performance. Starting these games off full of confidence.
Exciting race coming up here. We will have 3 section of 800 meters. Nous allons avoir 3 sections de ce 300 mètres. And perhaps the game's record here will be on the line, established by Jenna Westaway back in 2013 at just under 25 seconds. 2 minutes 05.
So here we go. Getting lined up for this 800-meter heat number 1, the women's open prelims. Lane assignments in lane 2, Jenica Swartz of Alberta. Lane 3, Elizabeth McDowell Mitchell of British Columbia. In lane 4, Anna Carruthers of Nova Scotia. Lane 5, Maya Markowska of Ontario. In lane 6, Allison Wasson of New Brunswick. Lane 7, Amelia Baisley of Newfoundland and Labrador. And in lane 8, Soraya Player from Prince Edward Island. You talked about Jenica Swartz earlier on, Adam, being certainly a threat in this first heat. Any other names pop out at you?
I have to go back to Markowska, the Canadian U20 champion. I think she'll be in the mix as well, but it's going to take quite an effort if anyone is going to unseat Swartz again. Still have to run the races, but on paper, she is the favorite.
Here we go.
On your marks.
Getting lined up. 800-meter heat number 1, the women's open prelims. We are underway, and a good start from Wasson. We talked about her yesterday, but Jenica Swartz going right to the front on the inside, and a good performance by Markowska as well, trying to stay out front. As they settle in, right now it's Swartz leading, Wasson staying with her in second. Right now, battle for third between Markowska and McDowell Mitchell from BC. Here comes this second big turn. Jenica Swartz trying to stay ahead. Wasson right now doing what she did yesterday, just staying close to the top. And Markowska trying to battle it out for third place. Good effort from all athletes. Here comes Swartz. Finish line coming forward, great speed. As they continue into this third turn, Swartz holding on. Wasson trying to continue to stay with her. In second place, holding on, Markowska. In behind in third. Great effort by these four. McDowell Mitchell in third right now, but starting to trail a little bit more, and there's a move by Markowska. Trying to take the lead. Swartz holding on to it. Wasson in third for New Brunswick. Swartz, in awareness, she can certainly feel that Markowska right behind her, starting to pick up the pace, but here goes Maya Markowska. A potential pass as they come down this final track. Jenica Swartz trying to hold on to it. Jenica Swartz, great speed as that finish line approaches, and it's going to be Swartz followed by Markowska, and a great run from Allison Wasson once again today. Finishing up, here comes Baisley of Newfoundland and Labrador. And Soraya Player as well across the line from Prince Edward Island. A great run by everybody, but your thoughts early on, Adam?
Well, Swartz leads gun to tape here, not really unexpected for the third place finisher at the Canadian Track and Field Championships. Markowska was content to tuck it behind Wasson for much of that race, but on the back straightaway on the final lap, she made her move. gave Swartz a bit of a challenge through the final 200 meters, but Swartz was able to hold her off. And it is Swartz and Markowska picking up the 2 auto qualifier spots for the A final. Swartz comes through in 2:07.67, and Markowska through in 2:07.98. Wasson 2:09.58, and McDowell Mitchell through in 2:13.55. So they will now wait to see if those times will get them through to the A final. But of course, still 2 heats to come.
A great race. This 800 meter, you talked about pain earlier on, Adam. 2 laps of the track. Certainly a great display of athleticism and endurance from all these athletes. It must certainly take a lot to train for an event like this.
You still need that speed that you see in the shorter sprints to be a good 800-meter runner. But you have to add in the extra endurance capabilities needed. So it can be just a brutal race, but Jenica Swartz making things look pretty easy in this opening heat.
Great look at the run. You see Markowska doing a good job of staying with Swartz. Swartz certainly didn't look pressured at any point, Adam.
Markowska put a little charge into her at the final straightaway, but again, the top 2 are going through, but I don't think Swartz wanted to give any confidence boost to the young Markowska.
A great run from all those athletes, but especially those top 2 finishers, and Wasson as well. She did a great job. Stay near the front, from gun to tape, as you mentioned. Heat number 2 coming up. Read the lane assignments. Lane 1, Cara McDonald of Nova Scotia. In lane 2, Grace Mack of Newfoundland and Labrador. Lane 3, Asa Woods of Saskatchewan. Lane 4, Shelby McIsaac of New Brunswick. Lane 5, Emma Veilleux from Quebec. Lane 6, Desiree Breitbach from Northwest Territories. Lane 7, Lena Klassen from Manitoba. And in lane 8, Cheyenne Tershman from Yukon. And here we go. We are underway. A quick start in heat number 2. Cara McDonald trying to gain distance on that inside lane in the turn, but right now it's Nasa Woods of Saskatchewan trying to go to the front, but it is Nova Scotia eventually taking over in Cara McDonald. Early on, anything jumping out at you, Adam?
Well, Nasa Woods and Shelby McIsaac both enter with seed times sub 2:06, 2:05.88 for Woods, 2:05.99 for McIsaac. So they are the 2 quickest in the field. So we'll see when they decide to make their moves. Right now it is McDonald from Team Nova Scotia holding down things at the front. She comes in with a seed time of 2:10.36.
McIsaac doing a great job for New Brunswick, and there's a pass to take the lead from Lena Klassen of Manitoba. So a little bit more back and forth in this second heat than we saw in the first one. Shelby McIsaac still staying in second place for New Brunswick, and Nasa Woods in third. Quebec's Emma Veilleux hanging back in fourth, and Cara McDonald currently in fifth. Staying with the pack as well as Cheyenne Tershman of Yukon, but there you have it. Out front right now, it's McIsaac for New Brunswick. Saskatchewan. Nasa Woods looking for the pass. Won't get it right now, but that turn coming up, and there's a break of speed from the back as it looks like McDonald from Nova Scotia tried to make a charge, and here comes Veilleux from Quebec. Talked about that strategy. We're seeing it in action right now. Coming into this final turn. And a big break. New Brunswick still leading the way, looking to gain distance, but here comes Saskatchewan. This is going to be a close finish. Nasa Woods trying to catch New Brunswick's McIsaac. It's going to be a close finish. McIsaac will hold on, followed by Woods of Saskatchewan and Emma Veilleux from Quebec for your top three to cross. And a great race from everybody here, Adam.
So McIsaac and Woods are going to grab those big cues. McIsaac threw at 2:12.98. Woods threw in 2:13.24. So heat number 2 slower than heat number 1. Emma Veilleux threw in 2:14.20, and that's not going to be quick enough to get her through to the A final.
Really a tough distance, as you mentioned. This 800 meters, a mix of everything. Strategy, certainly endurance.
Well, he opened up at about 69 seconds, so that's rather slow, but then they brought it back quite well. Closed in 63 seconds, or at least that's what McIsaac closed in. Nasa Woods threw in 64 seconds.
Interesting to hear your expertise on these races. You hear comments like that. Strategy so important in all these events here on the track, but especially on display in the 800 meter.
Well, when you've seen what a heat has already done, you have a little more insight, or you gain a little more insight to what your strategy has to be. And if you're Shelby McIsaac and Nasa Woods, you know that's a pretty slow pace. And you know you're probably going to have to finish in the top 2 to ensure you get through to that A final, because that opening lap likely isn't going to carry you through to a time that's going to get you through there. And that's how we saw that play out.
Really exciting to watch. If you're enjoying it, we're going to have coverage throughout the day today here from Fortis Canada Games Complex in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. One more heat coming up here in the women's 800 meters. First 2 are spectacular. And immediately following, we will have the men's 800 meters. 3 heats as well. An exciting day on the track. Coming up, lane assignments are as follows. In lane 1, Allie Nelson of Ontario. In lane 2, Jade Lenton of British Columbia. Lane 3, Claire Bowie of Prince Edward Island. Lane 4, Jenna Conrad of Saskatchewan. Lane 5, Morgane Drouin of Quebec. Lane 6, Zoe Bells of Yukon. Lane 7, Libby Dunn from Alberta. And in lane 8, Annika Desmet from Manitoba. So a full track. Any early thoughts when you look through the start lists, Adam?
British Columbia's Jade Lenton. She's going to have lane 2 to start off. She is the reigning Canadian indoor champion in this distance. And she finished 5th outdoors at the Canadian Track and Field Championships.
She's off to a great start. Is Lenton in lane 2. Trying to go right to the front. Annika Desmet from Manitoba started on the outside. She'll try to work her way in. No an early lead right now for Morgane Drouin of Quebec. Behind her, Jade Lenton of British Columbia and Ontario. And Hallie Nelson in 3rd. Saskatchewan in 4th with Jenna Conrad. And Desmet from Manitoba in 5th, trying to stay with the pack. Be Dunn of Alberta in 6th, has some ground to make up. And it's still Quebec out front right now is Morgane Drouin. Jade Lenton in the back. Thoughts on the first lap, Adam?
We come through in about 62 seconds, so quicker than we saw in Heat 2.
Jade Lenton, you talked about her before the race. Currently sitting in second, but a great run thus far from Drouin, trying to hold on to that lead. Lenton right behind her. And there's the pass, so Lenton goes to the front, and here comes Ontario as well, and Hallie Nelson. BC currently in the lead. Nelson of Ontario trying to hold on a second. Quebec, Saskatchewan right behind them, heading in to this final turn. A great run so far. Really showing a lot of speed, and here comes your final four. Top two guaranteed to move on. Finish line coming forward. It's going to be Nelson and Lenton. Head to head for this one. Trying to hold on is Lenton. Jade Lenton from BC, seeing that finish line coming forward, and there it is. Nelson from Ontario second, and Conrad of Saskatchewan third. Morgan Drouin holding on to fourth spot. As the rest of the field finishes up here in what was a great race. A great poise and patience from Jade Lenton as she'll go on to win this third heat, Adam. Any thoughts in the post-race as these competitors finish up?
Well, Hallie Nelson made a late charge there on Lenton, but Lenton was not going to give up that top spot. And you could see Nelson on the final straightaway looking around, just trying to get a sense of where everyone else was. And I think she liked what she saw. She was firmly in second place, so she could ease up and not have to worry too much as she crossed the line, as she knew she was off to the A final. Lenton comes through in 2:08.59, Nelson in 2:08.88, and it was a great start by Lenton. Tucked into lane 2 early on. Duran took the early control of this race. She ended up finishing in fourth at a time of 2:11.64. And this is where Lenton made her move. This is the home straightaway on the opening lap. And then just as they heard that bell, Lenton sprung into action. And the final 200, Nelson made her move, and you can see her sort of looking around. There's the look over the left shoulder. Didn't look too far back, but she couldn't see anyone when she did that little look, so that was a good sign for her. She is off to that A final, and the time qualifiers for that A final are going to be Allison Wasson from Heat 1 and Jenna Conrad, thanks to her 2:10.38 clocking here in Heat 3.
So some great action, excitement in the three heats for the women's side of the men of the 800 meters. But coming up now is the first of three heats on the men's side for the 800 meters. Any differences in particular between the men's competition and the women's, Adam, that we should be looking for?
Nothing really when it comes to the strategy here. They're going to feel the same pain as the women felt in this ruling 800-meter event.
Lane assignments. Starting in lane 2, Alejandro Chavetta from Manitoba. In lane 3, Nathan Clinton from PEI. In lane 4, Hayden McKinnon of New Brunswick. In lane 5, Michael Hussey of Saskatchewan. Lane 6, Lucas Rudatis of Nova Scotia. Lane 7, Devin Meadows of British Columbia. And lane 8, Ethan Meyer of Alberta. Hearing those competitors, anything jumping out at you early on, Adam, and what we can expect?
Well, Saskatchewan's Michael Hussey is going to start in lane 5, and he is the Canadian U20 champion here in 2025. He ran 1:49.23 to take that Canadian title. He has run faster this year, though. His seat time 1:48.03, and he is the only sub-150 runner in this opening heat.
He's in lane 5. A false start. We're going to try it again. Job by the officials, making sure everything is on a level playing field. So here we go. Heat 1, the men's 800 meters. We are underway. And a fast start from Meyer of Alberta on the outside lane. Looking to go right to the top. Great speed early on. And there you see Hussey in the middle. Trying to make a run for it. Getting around that first turn. It looks like Hussey going to take an early lead. And a good job by Chivetta of Manitoba in second. In third place, Hayden McKinnon of New Brunswick. Those are your top three. Right now, it's a battle for fourth. BC and Nova Scotia right behind them. Right now is Ethan Mayer of Alberta and Nathan Clinton of Prince Edward Island. Trying to keep with the pack is Hussey, still with the lead. To round out this first turn. Chivetta of Manitoba holding his ground in second place. New Brunswick and Hayden McKinnon still in third. Not much movement so far in the first lap. Your thoughts early on here, Adam?
Well, I was expecting to see Hussey moving his way towards the front. Again, the only sub 150 runner on paper in this opening heat. Chivetta's close, 150.25 his seed time, so he's holding down second spot right now, although now he's making a charge for that top spot.
Speaking of Chivetta, here he goes. You can tell he is looking to make a pass here, waiting for the right time, but Hussey, a great job at picking his speed up and holding Chivetta back, and a big break from Alberta and Ethan Meyer coming from the back, trying to catch the top two. Now in third, it's Hussey and Chivetta. Battling it out for that top spot, trying to hold on to third is Meyer. There could be a pass from BC and Chivetta. And Hussey, your top two, they'll be through. And it looks like BC gonna cross third with Devon Meadows. An exciting race, a close one all the way through.
So Chivetta will cross first here in this opening heat. He runs 152 flat. Hussey did what he needed to do to get through to that A final. He comes across in second, 152.13. Good final push by Devon Meadows, the BC champion here in 2025. He comes through at 152.66. And he will wait and see if that's going to be quick enough to get him through on time.
And a fast start from Hayden McKinnon. Another look at it. Those are your top three. Right now, it's a battle for fourth. BC.
It's a battle between Hussey and Chivetta for much of this race.
Not much movement so far in the first
They were at the front of this big pack. And then into that final 200 meters, it was Hussey still holding off Chivetta. And then Chivetta would make his move in the final 30, 40 meters of this race, but at that point, Chivetta and Hussey home free from the rest of the pack, and they get themselves those big cues. Ethan Meyer comes across from Alberta, 152.87. So he is the bubble time right now for the A final.
What an exciting heat number one. More action to come in this men's 800 meter. Heat number two coming up. They approach the line assignments. In lane one from Saskatchewan, Ben Gates. Lane two from Yukon, Jackson Berry. In lane three from the Northwest Territories, Cole McDonald. In lane four from Newfoundland and Labrador, James Power. Lane five from Ontario, Nick Trio. Lane 6 from Nova Scotia, Zachary James. Lane 7 from Quebec, Yasser Riyad. And in lane 8 from Prince Edward Island, Benji Dweck. Some good times on the start list, Adam. Any thoughts before this takes off?
Couple of competitors here who have sub 150 seed times, and leading the way is Yasser Riyad from Quebec, 149.22. He ran that new PB, or excuse me, that 149.22, his PB 149.17, and he ran that just about 2 weeks ago. So he is going to be the one to watch here. Also Zachary James, a 149.52 seat time. He is a member of Team Nova Scotia.
You see he goes right to the front, does Zachary James. Speed early on. To stay close in second is Yasser Riyad of Quebec. Ontario's Nick Trio in third, now in fourth. As we see a pass from James Power of Newfoundland and Labrador. Saskatchewan PEI rounding things out for 5-6. And Barry and McDonald in 7-8 for the Northwest Territories and Yukon. But right now, it's Nova Scotia with the early lead. Quebec trying to play catch-up. Newfoundland and Labrador trying to hold their ground in third, not able to, and that's a pass from Ben Gates. Ben Gates certainly gaining ground in recent times with a great push. Gates tries to keep the momentum going. Zachary James, he's led pretty much this whole time, and here's Yasser Riyad trying to stay close to him. As Ben Gates, the top three starting to pull ahead, but a good job from Nick Trio from Ontario to stay in fourth. Speed certainly picking up in this final turn. And here comes Quebec, Yasser Riyad trying to make a pass, and will James be able to hold him off from Nova Scotia? He's got the lead, but Riyad certainly turning on the speed, as does Ben Gates. This is going to be a close finish for second. With the top three all the way through, it's going to be Nova Scotia coming through first with Zachary James. Close call for the 2-3. Saskatchewan and Quebec battling it out for the 2 and 3 spot. I might need your expert analysis on this, Adam.
Well, it's going to go to Gates, and what a hard-fought final 100 meters for the Saskatchewan athlete. There you see Riyad will no doubt be disappointed with that third-place finish. He's not going to get a big cue. And it looked like it was going to be James and Riyad coming out of that final turn that were going to get those auto qualifier spots. But Ben Gates had other ideas. An excellent close from him. And he is moving on through to the A final. James takes that heat, 153.84. Gates comes through in 153.92. And Riyad through in 154.15. And for Riyad, that is not going to be quick enough to get him through to the A final on time.
Not what Riyad was hoping for. What a finish. Let's take another look at this. From highlights start to finish.
It was Zachary James and Riyad getting out to the front of the pack early. And they maintained that for much of this race. Through 400 meters, they were about 57.33, so that was about 2.5 seconds slower than we saw from Heat 1. And you can see that Ben Gates is just hanging around. He's still in third here, though, at 50 meters left to go. And I don't know if Riyad knew just how close he was. Riyad was running pretty wide in lane one, so there was an opening on the inside, and Ben Gates takes full advantage of it, and he books a spot in the A final.
Big congratulations on a great run from Ben Gates of Saskatchewan. It was Nova Scotia in top spot for heat number 2, and coming up, heat number 3. Their busy track. Here are the lane assignments. In lane 2, from British Columbia, Hudson Irvine. In lane 3, from Alberta, Tyler Sharp. In lane 4 from Newfoundland and Labrador, David Mack. Lane 5 from the Northwest Territories, Declan Monroe. Lane 6 from Quebec, Robin Lefebvre. Lane 7, Noah Dillon from Manitoba. And in lane 8, Ryan Gorgeson from Ontario. And we are off. Right to the front is Tyler Sharp. Any names jump out at you from this start list, Adam?
Well, we saw him in action yesterday. Robin Lefebvre from Quebec comes in with a seat time of 1:48.26. He's looking for a little redemption here after he DNF'd in this race at the Canadian Track and Field Championships in the U20 race. Also got Ryan Georgeson out of Ontario. He is the U18 Canadian champ. He won that title earlier this month in Calgary.
A close one so far. Tyler Sharp going right to the front, and there's a pass from Manitoba and Noah Fleon. Trying to gain distance is Ontario. Georgeson trying to catch those top 3, and a good job from Quebec and Robin Lefebvre taking second place now with a pass. Will send Tyler Sharp to 3rd, and going right to the top is Lefebvre. Is not able to hold on as Leon. Georgeson trying to gain distance. He takes 3rd now, and back a distance is BC and Hudson Irvine, currently in 5th. Into this turn. You talked about redemption for Lefebvre. Big turn for him as he's feeling pressure right behind him. And Tyler Sharp. Big turn coming up. Ontario trying to play catch up as well, and here's a dash from Lefebvre. Sharp in 2nd. Finish line getting closer. Lefebvre in Quebec trying to hold on. Will he be able to? He will, I think. What a close finish. As Tyler Sharp right behind him, and Georgeson from Ontario to round out the top 3. And what a close finish that was.
I think Ryan Georgeson knew what he needed to do here, because it was a pretty slow opening lap, the slowest we've seen through the 3 heats. They came through in 57.83, so it was unlikely that anyone was going to get through that A final on time here, barring a pretty big closing lap. So Lefebvre and Sharp get through with the big Qs, finishing 1st and 2nd. Georgeson's 1:54.59 will not get him through. So both the time qualifiers for that A final are going to come from Heat 1. That's Devin Meadows and Ethan Meyer.
What an exciting start to the day thus far, right through it. Adam, as we wrap up these men's 800-meter qualifying heats, anything stand out to you throughout the day, perhaps early, even from races earlier on, whether it be conditions and athletes having to work through anything? Just your overall thoughts on the day so far.
Well, the conditions a little more ideal than what we saw yesterday. No rain so far today in St. John's. The winds were whipping around, but they would come in fits and starts. We saw some races with an illegal tailwind. We even saw a race or 2 where it was a headwind. So the elements keeping these athletes on their toes, and likely to be the case tonight when we get back to the track.
Well, there you have it. First number of heats in the books. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back at 5 o'clock tonight, Newfoundland and Labrador time. Some more great action from Fortis Canada Games Complex, the host venue for these wonderful track and field events. Stay tuned, gonna be a big day. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you later on from the Canada Summer Games in St. John's.
We've heard it said, nobody comes here for the weather. And yet, every spring, here they are.